Hi, all. How are you doing? I'm here introducing another assignment. It's your intellectual biography or academic/professional Twitter profile assignment. So I figured some people are more into social media than others. Some people are more into, reflective writing than others. I feel like when people look at this assignment, some will gravitate to one and some will gravitate to the other, but they will accomplish the same learning outcomes, which is for you to think about your intellectual interests and where they come from and where they're going. And you can do that through finding other people with those interests or looking within yourself. So for an intellectual autobiography, you're going to write 500 words and explain how you became interested in a bachelor's in interdisciplinary studies as a means of intellectual growth. What influences have shaped your thinking and your choices over time? What do you hope to achieve with this major? One of the things that always interested me about doing interdisciplinary work was just an interest in people. So I would read books from all over the world and all across time, but I was always interested in ordinary people and what they knew and what their interests were. So one of the things that I'm studying currently is who read particular library books, and in particular, what they learned about scientific ideas from those library books. There are people who write about science, there are people who write about scientists, but there aren't that many people who are interested in people like you and me and what we understood about scientific information. And I think that's incredibly important. If you look around our culture now, we are filled with people, average people who have different scientific ideas, especially with regard to coronavirus and vaccines and disease spread. And it's very diverse, and they get information from all over the place. That's the kind of thing I like to look at, and I look at sort of where it comes from in the past. So in your case, you'll do some thinking about what you're interested in. You may want to organize it in a particular way and brainstorm some ideas. Sometimes that really helps people. You could say, okay, well, I'll have a short paragraph about the influences on my thinking before I arrived at UWG. And then you'll want to maybe think about the steps that led you to choose the BIS major. And you'll think about where you hope you will go from here. How will you grow intellectually? How will you grow personally from this major? And so, that's one way to organize it. Of course, if you start writing and it goes in a particularly creative or interesting way, that's great. I think that's awesome. So you're going to be evaluated based on the clarity and coherence of your writing and how well you follow these requirements. They aren't super stringent, so don't stress yourself out about the requirements too much. So here is the Twitter profile assignment. And this is something that is useful, especially if you're thinking about applying to graduate school or looking for internships. Not everyone is following the same trajectory, so I want to make sure everyone has the opportunity to kind of go in their own direction. So you will want to develop a professional or academic Twitter account for yourself. And follow some scholars and some influential professionals. You may already be doing this, so this might just be a little bit of editing of your professional profile. Your account should have the following. So one would be a professional bio for you, and that's just the little tagline on Twitter. It could say something like film studies student and screenwriter, or public health major, future lobbyist, etc. You'll want to have a picture of yourself that looks representative and professional. And, there are a lot of different ways to do that. If you're a graphic artist and your profile picture on Twitter is fairly artistic looking, like with different colorful filters or whatever, that's totally fine. That's normal. If you want to be a politician, you might want something a little bit more traditional looking. Then what you'll do is you'll look at the two major subjects that compose your BIS degree, and you're going to follow 20 Twitter accounts for each of them. So you'll want to be following at least 40 accounts. So here are some examples of what kinds of accounts you might find. Professors and graduate students in the field, authors who publish research related to your major. So, if one of your interests is economics, you will find economists. See who you can find, who's important. Authors who publish research. Relevant companies, university, and government offices. Let's say you want to see what's going on at USC Film School, the CDC, places like that. Those are really helpful. Film Forum in New York, if you're a film person. They always have different suggestions for obscure movies to watch that you might not have been able to access. Accounts for publications related to your major, trade publications, journals, etc. If you want to be a doctor, the Journal of the American Medical Association has a Twitter account you can follow. There are probably other successful people whose careers you follow. Let's say you want to be a DJ. I don't know how you get a BIS in DJ, but good for you. You probably already know the kinds of people you will want to follow. So 40 accounts seems like a lot to have to follow. But what will happen is you'll follow a few people and Twitter will suggest some. So you can kind of take that and look into more. So after you've done that, you kind of, set up your account, be ready to go. And this is useful for you. Like, this is a professional presence. You will be able to, maybe get work from it. It's possible. You make connections. That's what life is about, especially in the days of coronavirus. This is how you can meet people. So after you've done that, you'll want to turn in a paragraph on CourseNote, which explains the choices you made in terms of your bio and the accounts you follow. You'll be evaluated based on how coherent this profile is and how well you have followed these directions. I will be looking for the professional stuff. That doesn't mean you can't have like friends or whatever on there, but there should be some professional presence. So what you'll want to do is post your Twitter handle /paragraph or your intellectual autobiography to a CourseNote Dropbox, which I am instituting by Monday, May 10th. If you want to try to pace yourself and not have everything kind of bottleneck, try to turn it in by April 26th. And if you have any questions about this assignment, please feel free to contact me. I love to interact with you. I have Twitter, but right now it's locked. But I am happy to recommend different Twitter profiles for you. If you're the kind of person who is sensitive about information being out, and you want to lock your profile, you're welcome to request to follow me and I'll follow you back, and then I can unfollow you if you're especially sensitive about it. No problem at all. All right, well, I'm excited to see how this goes. I'm looking forward to learning more about you and how you think and how you've gotten to where you are. I hope that this class has helped you to develop more senses of where you're going and how you've gotten here and what kinds of options are available to you. Take care.